Rumble!
Everyone knows the big names lighting up the Steam Deck charts. But what about the quirky misfits, the innovative oddballs, and the criminally underrated gems hiding in the shadows? This list is all about games that don't scream for attention, but absolutely deserve it. These are the ones that bend genres, break the rules, and deliver experiences you won't find anywhere else. So fire up your deck, clear some space, and get ready to explore 15 of the most unique and badass games you've probably never played, but definitely should. Trust me, these are the real hidden powerhouses. Shogun Showdown. Every movement in this game felt like a deadly haiku in motion. Instead of chaotic button mashing, this turn-based battler asked players to breathe, plot, and strike like a pixelated samurai chess master. Each attack wasn't just about damage, it was about when and where you placed it on a tiny grid battlefield, soaked in strategy and slick pixel blood. The rhythm? Brutal. The consequences? Unforgiving. But when it all came together, it was a symphony of swordplay and serenity. As the runs piled up, so did the upgrades. New skills, fresh characters, and the kind of power scaling that made you feel like a one-man shogunate. Dying only pushed you to try again with sharper instincts and deadlier combos. The Edo-era aesthetic was a delightful bonus, from the intricate pixel art to the ambient Ninja Doom soundtrack that echoed in your soul. Released on September 5, 2024, this tight tactical roguelike earned its black belt in addictiveness and proved once again that minimalist violence and maximum brain power are a match made in turn-based heaven. Halls of Torment. This pixel-drenched descent into hell turned out to be one of the most viciously addictive monster grinders to hit the genre. Picture vampire survivors after binge-watching Dark Souls, with a sprinkle of infernal dungeon flair and a smirk that says, "You're not making it out of here, champ." Players got dropped into cursed halls with nothing but guts, weapons, and an unspoken agreement to die repeatedly for the greater good of progression. Each run piled on layers of carnage, endless waves of grotesque monsters, tight arenas filled with burning death, and bosses so mean they could moonlight as medieval landlords. As you leveled up, the build options turned wild. Summon walls of fire, stack passive buffs to cartoonish extremes, or call down heavenly wrath while dodging death itself. Characters like the cleric, swordsman, and archer weren't just skin swaps, they were walking philosophies of pain. Permanent unlocks, gear loadouts, and modifiers made every death sting just a little less, and the meta progression kept the loop tight and dangerously binge-worthy. Released on September 24th, 2024, this charmingly evil dungeon romp proved that hell hath no fury like a player on a 5-minute power spike. Cobalt Core. You're going to slam headfirst into a tactical space battle where lasers, laughter, and deck building collide like two ships in a black hole mosh pit. This isn't your average run-of-the-mill rogue-like card game. This thing will twist your brain with a single-axis movement system that feels like playing dodgeball inside a sentient supercomputer. Instead of just blasting enemies into stardust, you'll play a high-stakes dance of missiles and movement, slapping down cards to shield, shimmy, and shoot with pinpoint precision. What makes it extra spicy? Your ship will be home to a crew of quirky misfits, each with their own combat style, backstory, and chaotic charm. You'll mix and match 3 of them, juggle their unique decks, and then pilot them straight into the most unpredictable cosmic fistfight of your life. One run might be a defensive slow burn. The next, a wild aggro blitz through space mines and cannon fire. With daily challenges, randomized modifiers, and an arsenal of combo potential that will make your keyboard beg for mercy, it's going to hit you like a meteor of pure joy. Dropping on November 8th, 2023, this loop-powered banger will turn your Steam Deck into a tactical starfighter control panel. "20 minutes till dawn." This interstellar brawl of brains and beams redefined what a deck builder could be by flipping the battlefield sideways and shoving players into a single-axis dogfight full of chaos, cat-and-mouse strategy, and tactical heartbreak. It wasn't just about what cards you played. It was where you slid your ship to dodge death, and how many lasers you could sneak past enemy shields before they melted yours like cosmic fondue. Each move felt like solving a Rubik's Cube with missiles incoming. You had to command a 3-goober crew with wildly different personalities and synergies, each bringing their own custom decks, quirks, and deeply cursed jokes. The deck customization options were off the charts, letting players stack absurd combos, chain effects, and go from underpowered tin can to spatial war crime in under 15 turns. Throw in a time loop narrative, daily challenges with ridiculous modifiers, and a synth-heavy soundtrack that slapped harder than it had any right to. And you had a roguelike built for eternal replay. Released on November 8th, 2023, this starry-eyed juggernaut gave fans of tactics and card carnage something truly fresh, tightly designed, stupidly addictive, and unapologetically weird in all the right ways. Sunshine Heavy Industries. This bite-sized bullet apocalypse turned coffee breaks into survival horror boot camps. Players got tossed into a pitch-black battleground with exactly one goal: survive for 20 minutes against a horde of unholy monstrosities that multiplied like caffeinated gremlins. And survive they did by unleashing shotgun blasts, summoning magical spears, or raining down lightning like a spiteful weather god with a vendetta. What started as a simple run and gun quickly escalated into a dopamine-laced upgrade fiesta. With every fallen monster came new XP, every XP orb a new skill, and every skill a new opportunity to turn your build into some ungodly death blender. The rune system added long-term power boosts between runs, giving even the most catastrophic deaths a participation trophy in the form of permanent progress. Characters and weapons brought unique mechanics to the chaos, and the sheer number of combos made experimentation half the fun and half the madness. Released on June 8th, 2023, this one brought that one more run itch and scratched it until it bled. Tight controls, crunchy sound design, and pure pick-up-and-play energy made it an instant classic in the auto-shooter arena. Daylight was earned, never given. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. This glorious detour into the Deep Rock universe took everything players loved: bug-slaying, cave mining, and dwarven one-liners, and cranked it into an auto-shooting solo frenzy where aiming was optional, but survival was definitely not. Dropped from the sky into Hox's most bug-infested craters, you played as one very cranky dwarf, determined to turn a death trap into a gold mine, mowing down hordes while harvesting ores like a caffeinated mole with a machine gun. What made this tick was its reverse bullet hell flavor, where you dodged and weaved through procedural caves, let your guns do the talking automatically, and stacked so many upgrades mid-run that by the end you looked like a walking fireworks display. You dug through walls, unlocked absurd weapons, summoned turrets, and fought off everything from acid-spewing horrors to screen-filling bosses. Mission objectives added structure to the chaos, and those who made it back to the drop pod felt like absolute legends. Launching in early access on February 14th, 2024, this top-down spin-off gave Deep Rock fans something refreshingly new, while keeping the explosive charm intact. It was dumb fun, deeply strategic, and very dwarf. Management approved, and yes, Rock and Stone still echoed proudly. Peglin. This one rolled into the scene like a magical pachinko fever dream, starring a very angry goblin with a grudge against dragons and a bag full of physics-defying orbs. Players didn't slash or shoot. Instead, they launched enchanted balls into a board of pegs, traps, bombs, and crit-charged chaos, turning every battle into a gravity-fueled gamble. The more pegs you hit, the more damage you dealt, and the more dramatic the victory or failure became. One bad bounce could cost a run. One perfect ricochet could wipe a boss off the board. You built a loadout of special orbs with wild effects, stacked relics that could break the rules of physics, and explored randomized maps packed with treasure, traps, and tough-as-nails enemies. Each run felt like throwing yourself into a cosmic lottery with goblin-powered determination, and somehow, win or lose, it kept feeling fresh. Released on August 27, 2024, this delightfully deranged blend of Peggle and Slay the Spire delivered chaotic charm, ridiculous combos, and enough one more try energy to keep players bouncing till dawn. It was goblin justice through pinball vengeance.
Wake up, mop, rinse, wash, profit, sleep. Wake up, mop, rinse, wash.
Arcade paradise. This wild ride started with dirty laundry and ended with joystick-fueled empire building. What began as a soul-crushing job at a rundown laundromat quickly became a nostalgia-loaded scheme to turn every spare inch of mop-scented floor into a neon-lit arcade kingdom. Players juggled trash duty and sock fishing between runs of pixel-powered profits, slowly swapping out washing machines for retro cabinets, and turning chores into coins, literally. With over 35 playable arcade games, each a love letter to a different era, from vector shooters and side-scrollers to faux 3D racing and rhythm punches, this wasn't just a management sim, it was an actual arcade jammed into one addictive package. Every cabinet had its own story, scoreboards, gameplay mechanics, and high-score bragging rights. You could even dive into local multiplayer chaos with up to 4 friends. And yes, every game had a leaderboard that dared you to be that player. Released with a soundtrack that screamed MTV and dial-up, it brought the 90s back harder than a blockbuster late fee. Even the laundromat's grumpy dad chimed in with calls of wisdom and sarcastic shame. It built an entire coming-of-age story out of quarters and ambition. Brotato. This spud came to blast. After crash landing on an alien planet, players took control of a deeply unbothered, heavily armed potato who made up for his root vegetable status by wielding 6 weapons at once and turning extraterrestrial invaders into pixel puree. Survival was the name of the game, and every wave felt like a chaotic tater-fueled fever dream with bullets, beams, and bouncing blades flying in every direction. What made it shine wasn't only its endless item pool or bizarre weapon combos, sticks, SMGs, and rocket launchers on the same run, but the sheer build diversity. You could go full mage, become an unkillable rock, or play as a fragile lunatic with insane crit rates. Each run was a compact 30-minute carnival of destruction, with waves lasting under 2 minutes but leaving piles of loot, XP, and regret. Players spent downtime shopping for upgrades, choosing between chaos and more chaos. Released on June 23, 2023, this top-down bullet heaven was silly, speedy, and strangely strategic. Whether solo or in local co-op, it gave players the chance to scream, "I am the chosen potato," while mowing down hordes of gooey aliens. Starch never hit this hard. Dome Keeper. This sci-fi survival loop dropped players into a glass dome, gave them a drill and said, "Good luck down there." Every run played out like a desperate routine. Dig, panic, defend, repeat. You tunneled into the crust of an alien planet, scooping up rare minerals and ancient artifacts, while keeping one twitchy eye on the clock. Because once that timer hit 0, the ground shook, and the monsters came, creeping, flying, and occasionally oozing with one mission: smash your dome like a cosmic piñata. Should you haul back that precious upgrade material now, or risk one more swing of the drill? Choices felt heavy. Defense upgrades added lasers, repulsion fields, and gadgets to hold the line, but your reflexes still had to do the heavy lifting. Released on September 27th, 2022, this pixel-perfect, roguelike, mixed tower defense, mining, and adrenaline in a way that was strangely meditative and totally addictive. With its melancholic synth soundtrack and minimal UI, it was like living inside a retro sci-fi screensaver, if the screensaver tried to eat you. ASTLIBRA Revision. This time-warping, side-scrolling epic started out like a simple action RPG, and then casually dropped an emotional wrecking ball, a magic bird, and several god-sized bosses on the player's face. What looked like a pixel art throwback quickly bloomed into a sprawling 14-year labour of love that blended old-school charm with combat that was smooth, savage, and strategic. Players didn't just swing swords. They juggled stamina, timed possession skills, and carved their way through multi-phase monstrosities that could have doubled as apartment complexes. The story? Oh, it got weird in the best way. Themes like fate, loss, time travel, and cosmic-level screw-ups hit like a truck full of JRPG flashbacks, all wrapped around a surprisingly soulful bird named Charon, who was way more than comic relief. Gear builds allowed everything from melee tanks to magic-flinging rogues, and each new weapon unlocked insane new strategies. Chapters unfolded like a fever dream, dipped in nostalgia and twisted by emotional gut punches. Released on October 13th, 2022, this genre blender proved that side-scrollers could still carry the weight of massive storytelling, crunchy combat, and truly bananas endgame content. Necrosmith. This bony little gem handed players a necromancer's robe, a bucket of mismatched limbs, and said, "Go build your dream freak." From a grim tower surrounded by mystery and storm clouds, plus one very sassy white cat, you cobbled together unholy abominations from skeleton legs, zombie torsos, harpy wings, and the occasional robot arm like a corpse-based Lego set. The result? Absolute undead chaos, with a side of strategy and Frankensteinian flair. Here you were engineering weirdos with just the right mix of range, speed, and why does this one shoot fire from its knees? Each run became a game of resource management and undead leg day, as you farmed body parts, upgraded your tower, and built gadgets that turned your spooky science into war crime. Released on July 13th, 2022, this little necromantic RTS was far more clever than it looked, combining streamlined mechanics with addictive experimentation and pixel art charm. As you guided your stitched-up army across a dozen cursed biomes, all in search of escape, one thing became clear. Death wasn't just a tool, it was an entire toolbox. SNKRX. This arcade brainbender fused Snake with auto-battlers, threw in some roguelite spice, and somehow made it all work like a neon fever dream that refused to sit still. You piloted a wriggling conga line of mini-heroes, endlessly slithering through circular arenas while enemies crashed in like geometry-shaped rage monsters. The catch? You couldn't stop. Just steer left or right. That's it. And yet, that simple control scheme led to some of the most tactically rich chaos on the market. Each hero in your squad was auto-attacked like little turrets, came with passives, and belonged to classes. Stack enough rogues, sorcerers, or warriors, and you'd unlock powerful synergy bonuses that could turn your snake from flailing worm to death noodle. Leveling up heroes by purchasing duplicates added another layer of depth, and the passive item system let you fine-tune your build until you felt like a glowing, pixelated god serpent. Released on May 17th, 2021, this minimalist gem delivered pure roguelite joy in tight 30-minute bursts. No story, no fluff, just movement, mayhem, and synth beats by Cubby that slapped harder than a knight with momentum. It was elegant chaos at its finest.
This day started like any other.
Judged for your sins.
A true nightmare.
Have you ever murdered someone? What? Answer the question!
BROK the InvestiGator. This mutant genre mashup smashed together point-and-click puzzles, Saturday morning cartoon vibes, and side-scrolling brawls into a mutant detective story that punched way above its weight, sometimes literally. Players stepped into the trench coat of BROK, a gruff alligator detective with boxing gloves, a broken heart, and a mystery that ran deeper than a seedy sewer under a domed cyberpunk city run by animal bureaucracy. Though it started as a standard missing person case, spiraled into conspiracies, emotional gut punches, and sci-fi weirdness that questioned the nature of BROK's past. It also questioned his very existence. You could investigate crime scenes 1 minute, break faces the next, and then hop into a conversation tree that determined how everything unfolded. With multiple endings, RPG-light progression, character switching, and an easy mode that let you skip combat altogether, it offered something for every kind of player, even if you just wanted to vibe like it was 1992 again. Released on August 26th, 2022, this underdog gem delivered a surprisingly deep narrative, full voice acting, and accessibility features so thoughtful it practically redefined the genre. BROK didn't just solve crimes, he broke rules, broke bones, and maybe even broke your expectations of what a talking gator can do with a little heart and a lot of left hooks. Snakeybus. This gloriously unhinged mashup took the basic idea of Snake and asked, but what if the snake were a city bus and also 100 meters long and on fire? Okay, maybe not literally on fire, but it felt like it. Players weaved through city streets, rooftops, bedrooms, and even sci-fi dreamscapes, picking up passengers like a caffeine-fueled public transit daredevil. The more folks you dropped off, the longer your bus grew, until you were inevitably being chased by your own exhaust pipe. The tension came from the simple yet diabolical premise: don't crash into yourself. Except yourself, eventually stretched across half the map like a sleepy dragon made of transit nightmare. The result? A chaotic ballet of bus drifting, rooftop launching, and power sliding through tight corners while trying not to eat your own tail. And yes, multiplayer turned it into a vehicular noodle fight of epic proportions. Released on May the 10th, 2019, this absurdist arcade sandbox delivered pure serotonin for chaos gremlins and high-score hunters alike. With unlockable buses, wild map themes, power-ups and endless mode, it proved once and for all that public transportation could be thrilling, dangerous and absolutely ridiculous in the best possible way. And that wraps up 15 of the most brilliantly unique games you can play on your Steam Deck right now. From physics-bending chaos to genre-defying brilliance, these titles prove that innovation is alive and well, even if it's hiding just beneath the surface. Whether you've already tried a few, or just added your next digital obsession to the list, one thing's clear. The Steam Deck is a treasure chest, and these are some of the shiniest gems inside. Drop your own hidden favorites in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and as always, keep discovering games that dare to be different.
Going somewhere, crack?
Come and get me. You dead meat!
You're a